Waigachika Khalsa, Waigachiki Fateh. Gursant Singh here reporting on truly shocking, newly discovered factual and at the same time disturbing evidence of how Yogi Bhajan's Akal Security pays Sikh immigrants only $1 a day while in ICE detention and then shamelessly funnels the millions in ill-gained profits to SikhNet and other Yogi Bhajan organizations like 3HO and White Tantric Yoga and their kundalini research. Essentially, SikhNet's patron, Akal Security, a supposed Sikh-owned company, is treating Sikhs who are only seeking asylum from political persecution by the Indian government like slaves, profiteering off the hard labor of innocent Sikhs. Now, Akal says that it's a proud American company and one proclaiming to be rooted in Sikh traditions of fairness, equality, and making money honestly and honorably. Yet, they do this profiteering practice of using immigrants to make millions of dollars while paying them only $1 a day. Let's look at all the evidence here. Now, a few weeks ago, I came across a petition that was started by a Fateh Birkar. Tell Akal Security to sever ties with ICE. A few days ago, she posted an article by a Philip Tanzer. And you can see here the link that she put to this article. Now, this article is truly shocking. It reveals this newly discovered evidence about how Akal is profiteering off of what essentially is the slave labor of these immigrants, which includes many Sikhs. Here's the headline on this Mr. Tanzir's article. He's asking you questions about Akal Security. Should a non-profit, tax-exempt church oversee a for-profit security contractor tasked with enforcing ICE policies? And he goes into great detail about how Akal has worked with ICE for some 20 years. And Akal's contracts are primarily focused on two specialized needs: detention management and transportation. They've also been contracting with ICE to do this transportation of immigrants back to their originating countries. Here you can see Akal officers transporting immigrants who are shackled. This is an old contract for Akal Security with ICE. Now let's get to this piece of shocking information about how Akal Security, that is part of this Yogi Bhajan empire, uses the immigrant labor to make millions of dollars. This is a part of the code, evidently, and Mr. Tanzir published this on in his article, that gives the permission, if you will, for Akal to charge or to pay these immigrants only $1 a day. Akal has embraced the accepted prison practice of paying detainees $1 a day for cleaning and kitchen duties. So this is instead of hiring regular employees at fair market wages. This has been estimated to have netted Akal $3.8 million in savings at the Chrome SPC facility. This is the ICE facility that is known as Chrome, the Chrome facility. This is in 2014 alone. Any detainee that agreed or was coerced to perform these tasks whether they were from Central America or India or anywhere else, would have been paid that rate. So you can see here part of this chart, and you can see Akal Security paid the detainees $67,525. This is in that year of 2014. And if you subtract that from the amount they received from ICE, they made a profit of $3,848,000 off of the immigrant labor. And this shows here current hiring ads for the Chrome facility there. Here is a full blow up of that chart that I just showed you there. And this is all part of this Mr. Tanzir's report. The report is just shocking, and I encourage you all to read it. I'll put a link to it. There are many things brought out in the report. And I'll just go through a few of these items that are listed in the report that Akal has been practicing and profiteering off of these immigrants. Akal Security partners with Alaska Native corporations to obtain favorable bidding on detention contracts by claiming small, and this is in quote, small disenfranchised minority-owned business favoritism. They've been doing this since 2002. So essentially, Akal Security, they don't contract directly with ICE. This is the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency under the Trump administration. But what they do is they cleverly go through these native corporations, which get special favorable contracts because they claim that they're small, disenfranchised, minority-owned businesses. So they subcontract to the Native American small, disenfranchised, minority-owned businesses and then make the money that way. So they don't have to contract directly with ICE. Akal Security maintains conditions at ICE facilities so poorly for both employees and inmates that employees sue the company, and detainees have twice gone on hunger strikes when all other forms of seeking redress went nowhere. Ironically, these were Sikh detainees in both instances. And Akal's affiliate, Sikh Dharma International, that's one of the Yogi Bhajan enterprises, that's part of SikhNet and all these other Yogi Bhajan enterprises, and we'll talk more about that later, has thus far refused to address this issue, but appears content enough to not interfere with Akal's millions in monthly revenue, irrespective of how they make it. So basically, the Yogi Bhajan organizations, SikhNet and these other Yogi Bhajan organizations, they don't really care how Akal makes the money. They just take the money and use it. Now here is a little screenshot from Mr. Tanzir's article that talks about the Sikh detainees, how they staged a hunger strike at the Chrome. It says, in August 2015, 22 Sikh detainees staged a hunger strike at Chrome as a last-ditch effort to attract attention to their asylum-seeking cases. The ACLU got involved. It's unclear as to whether SDI did. That's Sikh Dharma International, Yogi Bhajan's organization, giving their relationship with Akal and obviously Sikhs. To be absolutely clear, everyone seeking asylum should be given a timely, credible, fair interview and bond hearing. But when invoking the Baker Act was discussed as a means to force-feed the detained Sikhs, it would have been under AGS, Akal supervision. So these are all practices by Akal at this Chrome facility, which they're still advertising to hire officers there. You can see these current ads on Glassdoor. Now here's another clip from this Philip Tanzir's article. Let all this sink in for a minute. While Akal disputed the amount its own employees should be paid under California wage law, leading to a class action lawsuit, it also saved hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, by implementing a national policy of using jailed migrants is a source of cheap labor. Not convicted criminals, mind you. These were simply ICE detainees serving food and scrubbing floors for $1 a day for years. Does that appear ethical? Did it violate the 13th Amendment? This is before Trump made everything an asylum-seeking immigrant does a possible criminal offense. Does Akal pride itself by being in the same league as the GEO group or Core Civic about this? With respect to the Sikh Dharma community, that's Yogi Bhajan's community, forget the price points that make yoga seminars and international tea distribution so successful, as those are peaceful enterprises. Should SDI adherents be informed that this is how some of the money truly flows upstream? This is just shocking. You know, I always knew the Yogi Bhajan organization was all about money, but I had no idea that Akal Security, which is part of this Yogi Bhajan empire and funnels money to SikhNet and all that through these grants, is literally using hard-working Sikhs as slave labor. It's just appalling. It's completely beyond the pale. And here you can see one of these voluntary work program agreements that is suggested by Homeland Security to use. And Akal says, just so hypocritically, they say serving humanity in their they have an Akal Foundation. Just outrageous. So again, Akal maintains these conditions at ICE facilities so poorly for both employees and inmates that the employees sue the company, and detainees have twice gone on hunger strikes when all other forms of seeking redress went nowhere. This is just outrageous. Ironically, these were Sikh detainees in both instances, and Akal's affiliate, Sikh Dharma International, has thus far refused to address this issue. I read at the end of Mr. Tanzir's article how he's sent questions to the Sikh Dharma International spokesperson, and they have, to this point, not answered any of his questions. Now, I want to talk more about how this money, these ill-gotten gains from Akal, gets funneled into the other Yogi Bhajan organizations. And I've talked about this a little bit before, but let's go into depth. I've got some new charts here to show you as well. There's a 10-member board that controls the entire Yogi Bhajan empire. It's called the Sri Singh Sabha Corporation. And you can see in this flow chart, SikhNet there at the top. You can see Yogi T. You can see Akal Security down there in the bottom left-hand corner here. All of these are controlled by the same group of 10-member board, ultimately. Here's another flow chart of the these are the for-profit corporations. So they've got this thing going on over there at the Yogi Bhajan Dera, or Yogi Bhajan Empire, where they have all these profit-making companies who do all of these different things just to make money, and then they funnel this money to the nonprofits. They call them the nonprofits, like SikhNet and the other yoga organizations. They've got all kinds of flow charts. You know, you can just look at this stuff up is on the internet. They've got all kinds of flow charts and very integral and complicated ways that they move their finances around, and they do this. I suppose it's legal, but it really brings into question how that a nonprofit tax-exempt church like this SikhNet and these other Yogi Bhajan nonprofits should be receiving money from a taxpayer funded contract like Akal Security has with ICE and these other immigration and detention roles that Akal has. So here's SikhNet has received this was a grant distribution flow chart that I picked out of a 2014 newsletter that was sent to me by the Sri Singh Sabh Corporation. And you can see here, these are grants distributed to the nonprofits. The total grants that were given out were $2 million. And you can see 3HO there. You can see KRI, which is Kundalini Research Institute, $255,000. SikhNet, $121,000. Sikh Dharma International, $286,000. There's legacy salaries, $368,000. So these are all salaries and money that's granted from this ill-gotten gains of Akal Security to organizations like SikhNet that it just shamelessly goes out there and begs for donations, additional donations from hardworking Sikhs. All the salaries that are paid to Gurmustik Singh, Guruka Singh, and these other directors over at SikhNet and the Sikh Dharma International are all paid through these ill-gotten gains that are granted to the Yogi Bhajan organizations like SikhNet. It's just shame. I can't say how much it disturbs me how the Yogi Bhajan people are just taking advantage of innocent Sikhs by using these Sikhs who are genuinely interested in getting amnesty and being here in the United States, just seeking asylum from the Indian government, from political persecution, and they're using them like for slave labor, and then going and begging Sikhs for donations. It's just so hypocritical. It's just hard to believe. Now, I made a video of this newsletter, so you can actually see proof that what I'm saying is correct about how the Yogi Bhajan people funnel this money from the profit organizations like Akal Security to the nonprofits. And here you can see this was part of that newsletter. This is the entire newsletter, and you can see how they funneled that money. I just haven't made this up. This is the whole newsletter. Now, I'm sure these profits are much more now, and the grants are much more now. That was almost 5 years ago that this newsletter was sent out. I think that what they did is they wised up when they saw that people were seeing just how much money they were moving from the profits to the non-profits, and they haven't sent out any new specific amounts that they're sending there. So we need to investigate that more and find out exactly how much is going now to from the profits to the non-profits. I'm sure it's a lot more now than it was in 2014. Here are some screenshots of some of the newsletter reports from the Khalsa Council that indicate how the Yogi Bhajan people are still funneling this money in the form of grants. And they set up these elaborate 501c nonprofit organizations in order to facilitate this funneling of money from the profits to the nonprofits. And again, they really don't care how they make this money. They just make it any way they can. And Yogi Bhajan was always about that. As many of you know, I was in the Yogi Bhajan group for 30 years, and he was really all about money. It's really evidence if you were ever around him. He was always talking about money and business and all this kind of thing. And of course, recently, there have been many articles coming out how he abused his students. And this was an article in the Eugene Register Guard not too long ago, which talks about how Yogi Bhajan, and shows evidence from former followers, how they say he abused his position for power, money, and sex. This practice is just being carried on. This practice of Yogi Bhajans of just using people for power, money, and sex is being carried on, in my opinion, by these companies of Yogi Bhajan and these non-profits. You can see how his students literally worship him. And it was a real eye-opener for me when I read some books about true Sikhism and started to realize that this Yogi Bhajan organization was nothing more than a cult around Yogi Bhajan. You can see how the Yogi Bhajan people still worship him, and they're even building these huge statues. There's a huge bronze statue that they're working on, no doubt using these funds that are made from the ill-gotten gains of working immigrants like slaves and only paying them $1 a day, making millions off of them, using that to support these monuments and statues to Yogi Bhajan. And you can see how they're prostrating there at his death place there where Yogi Bhajan died. These are other monuments that are around the Yogi Bhajan Dera, there if you will, or the Yogi Bhajan campus, that are no doubt supported by these ill-gotten gains of Akal Security and other scams too. So you can see here it supports the white tantric yoga that they do, this tantric yoga. This is dancing there in the Darbar of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji at one of their festivals. That's the Sikh scriptures there. That's just behind this white, which looks like kind of a garage door, and they're doing an Akampat reading of the Sikh scriptures and the Sri Guru Granth Sahib, while all of this dancing and loud music is going on there. I was actually reading there when I was part of the Yogi Bhajan group several years ago, and when all this dancing is going on, you can't even hear yourself. It's so loud and just obnoxious, and completely takes away from the respect of being able to be there, and the blessing of being able to be there and read from the Sri Guru Granth Sahib. It takes away from that. So the Yogi Bhajan people do all of these un-Sikh-like practices of doing yoga in the Darbar of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And again, all of these things are supported by this tax supported company, Akal Security. Basically, your tax dollars are going to support this cult. That's what it really amounts to. And you can see how here all the followers of Yogi Bhajan literally worship him. They do this thing called the Tritakam meditation, which is Guru Yoga, they call it, which is worshiping Yogi Bhajan's picture and meditating on it. And here you can see pictures of art. I guess you can, it's really not art. It's phallic drawings that Yogi Bhajan did. And he gave them to me in the late 80s. I still have these drawings, by the way. And you can see this one here on the right, where he's written power there. And then right in the center, you'll see an image of a woman. You can see her here there with the skirt and everything, and he's right in the middle of this big phallic symbol. The only conclusion I can reach is that this guy was really demented, Yogi Bhajan. As the article in the Eugene Register Guard points out, he was all about power, money, and sex. Some of his paintings were published in this book called, some of Yogi Bhajan's paintings were published in this book called The Game of Love. It should have been called The Game of Lust. Anyway, this is proof that these drawings existed. The Yogi Bhajan people when I was part of it, the leadership, they borrowed these paintings and drawings from me. This was back in the 90s to publish this book, and some of them they put in there, like this one drawing there, really crazy drawing there that's just above Yogi Bhajan's photo there. But they didn't put these phallic drawings in the book. So I understand why now. Anyway, here's another one of these completely phallic drawings that Yogi Bhajan did. I can tell you all kinds of stories how Yogi Bhajan would have me buy sea cucumbers, which are supposed to be an aphrodisiac in Chinese medicine. I would run down, this was in the 80s, and I would run down to downtown Los Angeles and pick up these aphrodisiacs for Yogi Bhajan and bring them back to the ashram. I kind of did errands there at the, I was on security and did errands there at the Yogi Bhajan ashram in Los Angeles. Now, let's talk a little bit about SikhNet and how they're involved in all this. This is Gurmustak Singh, who's the founder of SikhNet. There on the left, and then on the right is Guruka Singh, who's the CEO of SikhNet. And you can see them here in a what they called a synergy meeting, working together with the other tantric yoga people. I guess they're organizing a tantric yoga event. And just recently, I found a video where Gurmustak is attending this Akal Security conference that was held. Now, I'll put a link to this video so you can see the whole thing. But you can see down there at the bottom the headline, Akal Security Conference Highlights. And so Gurmustak, who's the founder of SikhNet, is obviously involved with this for-profit company, Akal Security. You can see the little logo up there in the right-hand corner of this video that says Akal Foundation. Let's see if we can zoom in on it there. Yeah, you can see it up there. But that's clearly Gurmustak. And so he's obviously working hand in glove with these for-profit companies like Akal Security. So no doubt, when Gurmustak Singh just a couple days ago called me a liar, in fact, this is a comment on Facebook that he made, and you can see his username there, Gurmustak Singh. He says, "Total lies that Gursant spreads. He is paid to spread this nonsense. Come visit our Gurdwara and see the truth." So Gurmustak has been calling me a liar for many years. And I see now why Gurmustak doesn't want the truth out there, because there's so much money involved. Gurmustak is involved directly with this Akal Security, as this shows, and they receive millions in grants from Akal Security to pay his salary. And that's why he doesn't want me exposing the truth. And it's so ironic that he would accuse me of spreading this nonsense and being paid for it. That's what, that's just so far from the truth. I'd like to know who's paying me. He's receiving all this money. He's the one being paid to spread all of this un-Sikh-like practice that he purports, and Akal Security is paying him millions of dollars, and SikhNet, and paying his salary and everything, and yet he accuses me of being paid. Oh, it's just so it's just really laughable. Anyway, we're not laughing because it is a serious business. And then his assertion that you should come visit the Gurdwara, their Gurdwara, and see the truth. Well, the last time I was there, at the Yogi Bhajan Gurdwara, it was all locked up. I couldn't even get inside. And to visit our Siddhi Guru Granth Sahib, our Sikh scriptures. We'll talk a little bit about that later. There's also no living or hosting facilities there, as far as place for people to stay. There's no guest houses. So people that want to come there there's just no place for them to stay. And I know Sikhs personally who've gone there to try to stay, and they've just been shunned. So it's a really a completely bluff of gurmustics that Sikhs should go visit them. Now, here is more highlights from this Akal Security conference, and you can see here how they're presenting, I don't know, different concepts about how to make money, I guess, over at Akal. And you can see there the Akal symbol there on the screen, and then that Uncle Sam symbol there with the U.S. flag. And I think this is really indicative about how Akal works. They work hand in glove with the U.S. government to make millions of dollars off of the pain and suffering of immigrants, and then they are just using them like slave labor as well. It's just beyond the pale. That's all I can say. I really, really hope that, or I pray that these people are fully exposed for what they are. They're just money-grabbing, greedy people looking for more money and power. That's all I can say. Now let's look a little bit at the whole Yogi Bhajan campus here, or Dera as Sikhs would call it. I've written in here, as best I could, the different places where all the different organizations are located, like Akal Security and the KIT, which is another for-profit organization, the Sikh Dharma International, SikhNet. They're all within about, I'd say within about a quarter-mile radius of each other in Espanola, New Mexico. Here you can see, I'll try to put on the cursor here, this is the Akal Security headquarters. You can see the parking lot where the people are parked there. Akal Security is a huge company. They got billions in contracts. They're one of the biggest corporations in New Mexico. And then here is SikhNet's offices here. The Sikh Dharma International and the 3HO are housed here. They're all together within just a few hundred yards of each other. So they work hand in glove together. Let there be no doubt about it. They're all part of the same organization. These are the gates that were all locked up when I went to visit there. This was a couple of years ago. And you can see here how I took these pictures, how they have the U.S. flag above the Sikh flag. This is really indicative of where their loyalties lie. Now you can see here, I took a picture through the fence, and you can see the SikhNet little sign there. This is the entrance to the SikhNet offices, and it was all locked up. I couldn't go in to visit our Siddhi Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And then the Sikh Dharma International. It's all part of the same headquarters. And this is in the same place where Akal headquarters is located. And they keep it all fenced up, all locked up. These pictures I took off of Google Earth too, just recently, so I know it's all still the same way. This gate here was all locked. It has a key code to get inside, which I don't have, and I tried to ring the buzzer there. I think I have a picture here of the buzzer where I tried to call, and it's right there at this gate where the buzzer is. Intercom, I guess you should say. But nobody answered, and it was just, like I said, it's just completely locked up like a drum. All right, well that concludes all of our photos, and I would like to encourage people to sign this petition that I showed you earlier. Please share this video so we can get this really shocking information out there about how Akal Security and SikhNet are profiting from what is essentially the slave labor of Sikh immigrants who are only wishing to seek asylum here in the United States. Thank you for your time, and please call me or write me if you have any questions. I'm open to receiving questions and answering them best I can. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.